Illusion of control. When things go well, people want to believe their actions made it happen. When things go wrong, they look for something or someone to blame. The illusion of control is the false belief that individuals have power over events when they actually do not. This thinking trap causes frustration, stress, and poor decision-making. It affects everyday life in ways that people often do not recognize. A common example is gambling. Many gamblers believe they can influence the outcome of a game of chance. A person rolling dice in a casino may throw them gently if they need a low number or with force if they want a high one. In reality, the roll is random, the person has no control, but they act as if they do. Another example is someone picking lottery numbers based on birthdays or anniversaries. The numbers are drawn at random, yet people feel they have a better chance by choosing numbers with personal meaning. People also see patterns where none exist. A basketball player who makes several shots in a row may think they are on a hot streak. Fans believe the player has some control over whether the next shot will go in. Statistics show that a player's chance of making a shot remains the same regardless of past success. The belief in a hot streak is an illusion, but it feels real. The illusion of control appears in business settings. An executive may believe their decisions alone drive company success, ignoring factors like market trends, economic shifts, and consumer behavior. A manager might think that being more involved in every detail of an employee's work ensures success. Micromanaging creates stress for both the manager and the employee without actually improving results. The need to feel in control pushes people to take on too much responsibility. In personal life, people often believe they can control relationships. A person in a failing marriage may think that if they say the right things or act a certain way, they can make their partner stay. They ignore the other person's free will. Parents may believe they can shape every aspect of their child's future through discipline and planning, even though outside influences play a major role. The illusion of control leads to unrealistic expectations and disappointment. Superstitions stem from this thinking trap. Athletes wear lucky socks because they believe it affects their performance. Students use the same pencil for every test, thinking it helps them get good grades. People avoid walking under ladders or stepping on cracks to prevent bad luck. None of these actions change reality, but they provide comfort by creating a sense of control. The illusion of control is strong in health-related decisions. A person who eats well and exercises regularly may assume they can prevent illness. When they get sick, they feel betrayed by their efforts. While healthy habits reduce risk, they do not eliminate it. Another example is someone following home remedies instead of seeking medical treatment. They believe their own actions will cure them, even when evidence suggests otherwise. People also try to control outcomes in financial decisions. Investors believe they can predict the stock market by studying trends. While research helps, markets fluctuate due to many factors beyond one person's knowledge. Someone who buys a stock and sees it rise may assume they made the right choice based on skill. If it falls, they might blame bad luck instead of considering the limits of their control. Technology gives the illusion of control. Smart devices, apps, and automation make life easier, leading people to feel they can manage every aspect of their day. But unexpected events still happen. A phone battery dies, a software update causes issues, or a GPS sends someone the wrong way. The belief that technology eliminates uncertainty is false, but it influences how people interact with the world. The illusion of control appears in driving. Many drivers believe their skills keep them safe, underestimating external factors like road conditions, weather, and the actions of other drivers. A person may speed, assuming their experience allows them to avoid accidents. Another may get angry at traffic, believing they should have the power to make it move faster. These beliefs do not change reality, but they shape behavior. The workplace fosters this thinking trap. Leaders want to believe their strategies alone dictate success. Employees think hard work guarantees promotions. In reality, outside factors such as company policies, office politics, and market conditions play a role. The illusion of control makes failure feel personal, even when it is not. Stress and anxiety increase when people overestimate their control. A person facing a difficult situation may believe they can think their way out of it, even when no perfect solution exists. They may spend hours planning for every possible outcome, hoping to prevent failure. This mindset creates pressure and leads to frustration when things do not go as expected. In social situations, people assume they can control how others see them. They rehearse conversations, choose words carefully, and adjust body language to make the right impression. While preparation helps, they cannot control how others interpret their actions. Someone may dislike them for reasons beyond their knowledge or change their opinion over time. Trying to control another person's perception often leads to self-doubt and stress. Decision-making suffers when people believe they have more control than they do. A person choosing between two job offers may spend weeks analyzing details, believing they can predict which will lead to success. While research is important, unforeseen factors affect the outcome. Someone planning a vacation may check the weather daily, thinking it will help them pick the best time to go. Weather changes regardless of human effort, making their control over the situation limited. Marketing takes advantage of this thinking trap. Companies sell products that promise control over health, appearance, or success. Anti-aging creams claim to stop wrinkles, diet plans guarantee weight loss, and self-help books promise life transformation. While these products may help, they do not provide absolute control. The illusion makes people believe they can achieve perfect results if they make the right choices. People resist accepting randomness. They want to believe their actions matter in every situation. This belief provides comfort, even when it is false. It is difficult to accept that some things happen by chance or are influenced by forces beyond control. People would rather believe they made a mistake than admit an event was random. Understanding this thinking trap helps reduce stress. Recognizing that not everything is within personal control allows for better decision-making. It prevents overanalyzing situations, reduces frustration, and leads to more realistic expectations. People cannot control everything, but they can control how they respond to uncertainty. Mind reading. people assume they know what others think. They believe they can read minds without any proof. This belief causes problems in relationships, work, and daily life. When someone thinks they know what another person is thinking, they act based on assumptions rather than facts. This results in misunderstandings and unnecessary stress. A person may walk into a room and see two co-workers whispering. Instead of considering different possibilities, they immediately believe, "They are talking about me." This belief affects their mood and behavior. They may become defensive, withdraw, or feel angry. None of these reactions are based on actual knowledge. They are based on the false idea that they can read minds. Mind reading can harm friendships. A person sends a text to a friend and does not receive an immediate reply. Instead of assuming the friend is busy, they believe the friend is ignoring them. They might think, "They must be mad at me." This assumption leads to hurt feelings and unnecessary conflict. If they reach out and ask, they may find the friend was just busy. Without asking, they let the false belief shape their emotions and actions. In relationships, mind reading creates tension. A person notices their partner seems quieter than usual and assumes their partner is upset with them. Instead of asking, they begin acting distant. The partner, noticing the change, reacts similarly. Now both feel disconnected even though no real problem existed. The relationship suffers because of an assumption. If the person had simply asked, they could have avoided the entire situation. At work, mind reading leads to self-doubt and anxiety. An employee presents an idea in a meeting, and the boss does not immediately respond. The employee assumes the boss dislikes the idea. They spend the rest of the meeting feeling insecure. Later, they learn the boss was distracted by another issue. Their assumption had no basis, yet it affected their confidence. If they had asked for feedback, they would have received clarity. Mind reading affects social interactions too. A person enters a gathering and sees someone looking in their direction. They assume the person dislikes them or is judging them. This belief shapes their behavior, making them hesitant to engage. In reality, the person may have been looking absent-mindedly. The assumption distorts reality and affects the person's ability to connect with others. This pattern often begins early. A child may notice a teacher frowning. Instead of thinking the teacher is focused on something else, they assume the teacher is disappointed in them. They carry this false belief throughout the day, affecting their confidence. If they had asked, they might have learned the teacher had a headache or was thinking about something unrelated. The habit of mind reading continues into adulthood, influencing behavior and emotions in harmful ways. Social media amplifies mind reading. Someone posts a picture and does not receive as many likes as they expected. They assume people dislike them or find them boring. Instead of seeing social media engagement as random, they take it as a personal judgment. They feel rejected, even though there is no real evidence that anyone thought about them at all. This false belief can lead to sadness or self-doubt. Mind reading is also common in professional settings. An employee receives a short email from their manager. Instead of viewing it as neutral, they assume it means their work is unsatisfactory. They spend the rest of the day worrying. Later, they find out the manager was simply busy and had no negative thoughts about them. The unnecessary stress came from their assumption, not reality. Even in public, mind reading affects behavior. A person walks past a group of people who start laughing. They assume the laughter is about them. This thought makes them feel embarrassed or insecure. In reality, the laughter could be about something unrelated. The assumption distorts the situation and causes unnecessary discomfort. The problem with mind reading is that it often confirms existing fears. If someone already feels insecure, they will assume others see them that way too. They will misinterpret neutral behaviors as negative. A friend being quiet will seem like disapproval. A coworker not responding quickly will seem like rejection. These thoughts reinforce anxiety and self-doubt. People who struggle with social anxiety often engage in mind reading. They assume others are judging them, even when there is no evidence. They interpret normal interactions as signs of dislike. A person glancing away during a conversation seems like boredom. A short response in a text seems like annoyance. These assumptions make social situations feel overwhelming. Mind reading is not only inaccurate, but it also limits communication. Instead of asking questions, people act based on their assumptions. If a person believes a friend is upset with them, they might withdraw. If they had asked, they might have learned the friend was simply having a bad day. By avoiding direct conversation, they allow false beliefs to shape their relationships. Many conflicts arise from mind reading. Someone believes a coworker dislikes them based on a single interaction. They start avoiding that person, creating unnecessary tension. The coworker, noticing the distance, assumes the same in return. Now both act distant, even though there was no real issue to begin with. A simple conversation could have prevented the problem. Mind reading also affects performance. A student assumes their teacher thinks they are not smart. This belief makes them hesitant to participate in class. Over time, they engage less and less. Their grades suffer, reinforcing their initial belief. If they had asked for feedback, they might have learned the teacher had no negative thoughts about them. The cycle of assumption and inaction holds them back. Breaking the habit of mind reading requires awareness. People must recognize when they are assuming thoughts instead of knowing them. When they notice themselves making an assumption, they should ask themselves if they have evidence. If they do not, they should consider alternative explanations. Asking direct questions is a simple way to prevent mind reading. Instead of assuming a friend is upset, they can ask if something is wrong. Instead of believing a coworker dislikes them, they can engage in conversation. Most of the time, they will learn their assumption was incorrect. This approach prevents misunderstandings and strengthens relationships. Reframing thoughts also helps. If someone believes a friend is ignoring them, they can consider other explanations. Maybe the friend is busy or distracted. Instead of assuming rejection, they can remind themselves that they do not know for sure. This small shift in thinking reduces unnecessary stress. Writing down assumptions can reveal patterns. If someone consistently assumes others dislike them, they can challenge those thoughts. They can ask themselves if their assumptions have ever been proven wrong. Most will find that their fears were unfounded. Recognizing this pattern helps them change their thinking. Observing how others react to different situations can also be helpful. If someone notices that a friend does not take things personally, they can learn from that behavior. They can remind themselves that not everything is about them. People have their own thoughts and struggles that have nothing to do with others. Avoiding mind reading improves communication and reduces stress. It allows people to engage with others based on facts rather than assumptions. Relationships become stronger, workplaces become less stressful, and social interactions become easier. Recognizing and challenging these thoughts leads to a clearer, more confident way of thinking. Personalization. This is the belief that everything that goes wrong is somehow your fault. You assume responsibility for situations that may have little or nothing to do with you. When someone is upset, you believe you caused it. If something does not go as planned, you blame yourself, even when external factors played a major role. This thinking pattern causes you to feel guilty, anxious, and responsible for fixing issues that were never within your control to begin with. Imagine a team project at work where a deadline is missed. You immediately think, "I should have worked harder," or, "If I had done more, we would not be in this situation." You overlook the fact that others also had responsibilities, that unexpected problems came up, or that the deadline might have been unrealistic from the beginning. Rather than seeing it as a shared responsibility, you place all the blame on yourself. This kind of thinking also appears in personal relationships. Suppose a friend seems distant or does not respond to a message right away. You start wondering what you did wrong. You replay past conversations, trying to find something you might have said that upset them. You assume they are mad at you instead of considering that they might be busy, stressed, or dealing with their own personal challenges. You make their mood about you, even though you have no real evidence that you caused it. Parents often struggle with personalization. If a child struggles in school, misbehaves, or seems unhappy, a parent might immediately think, "I failed them." They ignore the many other influences in their child's life: teachers, friends, personal experiences, or even genetics. Instead of recognizing that parenting is complex and that no one has complete control over their child's life, they take all the responsibility upon themselves. Personalization also happens in social settings. Suppose you are at a gathering and you make a joke that no one laughs at. You immediately think, "They must think I am boring," or, "I embarrassed myself." In reality, people might have been distracted, might not have heard you clearly, or might simply not have found the joke funny at that moment. However, instead of considering these possibilities, you assume the reaction is a direct reflection of your worth. In romantic relationships, personalization can create tension. Imagine your partner comes home from work looking exhausted and barely speaks. Instead of thinking they had a rough day, you start wondering, Did I do something wrong? You begin analyzing your recent interactions, trying to find something you said or did that might have upset them. This leads to unnecessary stress and miscommunication because you are assuming responsibility for something that likely has nothing to do with you. Social media amplifies this thinking trap. You send a message, and if someone does not reply right away, you assume they are ignoring you, or upset with you, or do not care. You do not consider that they might be busy, overwhelmed, or simply not in the mood to chat. Instead, you take their silence as a personal slight, even though there is no clear evidence that it has anything to do with you. Workplace settings also highlight personalization. If a boss gives constructive criticism, you might think, "They do not like me," instead of, "They are helping me improve." If a coworker is short with you, you assume they are annoyed with you, rather than considering they might be having a bad day. You make their words and actions about you, instead of recognizing that people have their own reasons for behaving the way they do. This thinking pattern is exhausting. You spend too much time worrying about things you cannot control. You feel responsible for how others feel, even when their emotions have nothing to do with you. This results in guilt, self-doubt, and unnecessary stress. You start tiptoeing around people, trying to avoid upsetting them, even though they might not be upset at all. You carry the emotional burden of others, which makes it difficult to focus on your own needs. One reason personalization happens is the desire for control. If you believe you caused a problem, then in some way you also believe you can fix it. Admitting that some things are beyond your control is uncomfortable. It feels easier to think, "If I had just done something differently, this would not have happened," than to accept that some things occur for reasons outside of your influence. Another reason is low self-esteem. If you already struggle with self-doubt, you are more likely to assume you are the cause of negative situations. You interpret neutral or unrelated events as evidence that you have done something wrong. You believe that if something goes wrong, it must be because of you. Breaking free from personalization begins with awareness. When you catch yourself taking responsibility for something, ask yourself, "What evidence do I have that this is my fault?" View the situation from an outsider's perspective. If a friend told you the same story, would you blame them often? You will realize you are being much harder on yourself than you would be on anyone else. Consider alternative explanations. If someone appears upset, ask yourself what else could be going on in their life. Remind yourself that people's emotions and actions are influenced by many factors, most of which have nothing to do with you. Challenge the assumption that you are the cause of every negative situation. Practice separating what you can control from what you cannot. You can control how you respond, but you cannot control how others feel or act. You can do your best in any situation, but you cannot guarantee a perfect outcome. Recognizing this will take a heavy burden off your shoulders. If you find yourself spiraling into self-blame, pause and consider what you would say to a friend in your position. You would probably reassure them that they are not responsible for everything. Try offering yourself the same kindness. It also helps to ask directly rather than assuming. If you think someone is upset because of you, ask, "Is everything okay?" instead of immediately taking the blame. More often than not, their response will show you that their mood has nothing to do with you. Learning to let go of personalization takes time. It involves retraining your brain to see situations in a more balanced way. It means reminding yourself that you are not responsible for everyone else's feelings. It involves understanding that people's reactions are about them, not about you. Letting go of personalization does not mean ignoring accountability. If you have genuinely made a mistake, taking responsibility is important. However, it also means recognizing the difference between what you actually caused and what you are simply assuming you caused. It means seeing situations as they are, not through the distorted lens of self-blame. When you stop personalizing everything, life feels lighter. You stop carrying the weight of things that were never yours to carry. You free yourself from unnecessary guilt and self-doubt. You begin to see yourself as part of the world, not the sole cause of everything that happens in it. You realize that other people's moods, choices, and actions are influenced by many factors, and you are just one small part of a much bigger picture. People blame themselves for much more than they should. Overestimation of danger. People often think that the world is more dangerous than it truly is. They believe threats are larger, more frequent, or more likely than they actually are. This type of thinking trap, known as overestimation of danger, causes individuals to feel more fear than is warranted. It can result in avoiding situations that are actually safe or in worrying excessively about events that are unlikely to occur. This mindset influences daily decisions and may restrict what individuals do in their lives. A person who overestimates danger might consider flying to be extremely risky. They picture a plane crash each time they board a flight. They are convinced that something will definitely go wrong, even though statistics indicate that air travel is among the safest ways to travel. Their fear is not founded in reality but is instead shaped by how they perceive the situation. News reports that highlight rare plane crashes reinforce this belief. They fail to consider that millions of people travel by air safely every day. Instead, they concentrate on the remote possibility of catastrophe. This fear might lead them to avoid flying completely. They may opt for long road trips, despite the fact that driving is significantly more dangerous than flying. Individuals who are afraid of crime often make similar errors in judgment. They might believe violent crime is on the rise, even when data indicates it is declining. Hearing about crime in the news makes them assume it is happening everywhere. They may avoid going out at night or steer clear of certain neighborhoods, even if those areas are safe. They might purchase costly security systems or carry weapons, convinced that they must always be on guard. This fear is not typically rooted in personal experience, but rather in stories that portray crime as more widespread than it truly is. Parents are sometimes prone to overestimating danger concerning their children. They may think strangers are constantly attempting to abduct children. They envision worst-case scenarios and implement extreme safety measures. As a result, they might avoid parks or other public spaces because they perceive them to be unsafe. They may refuse to allow their children to walk to school, even though most child abductions are committed by someone the child already knows, not a stranger. Though their fear does not align with actual statistics, it still plays a major role in shaping their decisions. The way that the media presents information makes it easy to overestimate danger. News outlets focus heavily on rare and dramatic incidents, rather than on ordinary, safe events. Stories about plane crashes, murders, and natural disasters are more likely to be covered than those about safe flights, peaceful neighborhoods, or calm, uneventful days. This constant focus on exceptional dangers makes individuals believe these events are more common than they really are. Watching an excessive amount of news can leave someone with the impression that the world is a much more dangerous place, even if they have never experienced crime or disaster themselves. Many people also struggle to understand probability. They have difficulty interpreting risk in numerical terms. For instance, if someone hears there is a 1 in a million chance of something happening, they may not comprehend how minimal that risk truly is. Instead, they focus on the fact that it is still possible. They might hear about a rare side effect from a medication and choose not to take it, even if the drug could potentially save their life. The fear of the rare event outweighs their recognition of the likely benefits. Overestimation of danger also affects health-related decisions. Some individuals avoid medical treatments because they concentrate on uncommon risks. They might reject vaccines after hearing about a single negative reaction, ignoring the fact that millions of others have benefited. Others may avoid surgeries that could improve their lives because they fear rare complications. Even though such complications are not common, their fear leads them to make decisions that may not be in their best health interest. This thinking trap can extend into social interactions as well. A person who fears rejection may assume that others dislike them, even without evidence. They may avoid speaking during meetings or refrain from introducing themselves to new people. They imagine highly embarrassing scenarios that are unlikely to occur. They assume they will be judged harshly. They do not stop to consider that people might actually respond with kindness or understanding. Their fear of negative outcomes prevents them from taking social risks that could enrich their lives. Individuals who overestimate danger frequently alter their behavior in ways that reinforce their fear. If a person believes a neighborhood is dangerous, they will avoid it. Since they never go there, they never get the opportunity to discover that it is actually safe. As a result, their belief remains unchallenged. The same pattern applies to other fears. Someone who avoids flying never experiences the typical, smooth nature of most flights. Instead of weakening the fear, avoidance only strengthens it. The way memory functions can also contribute to this thinking trap. People tend to recall frightening events more vividly than ordinary ones. If a person has a negative experience, they often replay it repeatedly in their mind, focusing on every detail. Meanwhile, they overlook all the times when events went well. For example, someone who was once involved in a minor car accident may begin to believe that driving is inherently dangerous, despite having safely driven for years. They remember the accident far more clearly than the countless safe trips. Some individuals are naturally more cautious than others. Their personalities make them more attuned to potential threats. Some may have lived through trauma, which increases their sensitivity to danger. Others may have grown up in an environment where fear was common. These factors can make someone more likely to perceive threats even when those threats are not statistically probable. As a result, they may come to see the world as a place where bad things occur frequently, even though that is not the case. Overestimation of danger can result in needless stress. Constant worry about improbable risks consumes mental energy. It can lead to anxiety and keep individuals feeling constantly on edge. They may struggle to relax, as they are always anticipating what could potentially go wrong. Their bodies remain in a state of tension, which over time may cause health issues. Chronic stress can negatively impact sleep, digestion, and the immune system. It may diminish overall enjoyment of life. This thinking trap can also prevent individuals from seizing opportunities. If a person perceives a new job as too risky, they might remain in a role they dislike. If they believe travel is too hazardous, they may never explore new places. If they are convinced that relationships are full of potential harm, they might avoid dating altogether. Their fear stops them from pursuing things that could lead to happiness or success. By focusing too intensely on possible negative outcomes, they limit their own potential. To confront overestimation of danger, people must look at factual information. They can ask themselves how likely a feared event truly is. They can research reliable statistics instead of relying solely on feelings. They can seek actual experiences instead of automatically assuming the worst. They can remind themselves of situations that turned out well, rather than only recalling negative incidents. They can slowly test their fears by taking small steps beyond their comfort zones. Facing fears in a controlled way can reveal that many perceived dangers are much rarer than initially believed. Avoiding unnecessary fear does not mean ignoring real risks. It means recognizing the difference between what is likely to occur and what is not. It means making decisions grounded in reality rather than in fear. It means understanding that the world is not as frightening as it sometimes appears. It means refusing to let fear dictate life choices. When individuals stop overestimating danger, they can live with greater confidence and less worry.